welcome to Beluga Pacific Whiteside Dolphin Stadium. My name is Caitlin and I'm one of the trainers here. We want to welcome you to Inside Look here at SeaWorld San Antonio. This is a very special time of year. It's actually something we only do twice a year, where we invite our guests to go deeper and look behind the scenes or get a more of an in-depth look of how we care for our animals here at SeaWorld. Today we're going to give you an inside look on how we care, specifically healthcare or husbandry behaviors for our animals. We're home to 11 beluga whales and 7 Pacific white-sided dolphins. Today we have 6 of our beluga whales hanging out with us in this brown habitat, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about each of those individual animals, as well as how we do some of those basic husbandry behaviors with them. Our beluga pod is made up of 11 individuals, 6 males and 5 females. Our youngest beluga whale, his name is Tula, and he is 2.5 years old. Our oldest beluga whales are in their mid-30s. Their names are Beluga, Martha, and Chrissy, and they're all 37 years old. Now, one of the first things we do when it comes to working with any animal, whether that's a baby animal or a rescue animal or any animal for that matter, is building a bond or building a relationship. And that simply means we need to get to know that individual animal, and they need to get to know us. This is very similar anytime you have a new coworker or a new friend. You ask them a lot of simple questions, and you spend a lot of quality time together. And what that looks like with beluga whales is we spend a lot of time feeding them, playing with them, basically doing anything we think they seem to find enjoyable. Here at SeaWorld, our beluga whales get 2 different species of fish, herring and caitlin. And then when it comes to what else does the beluga whale seem to enjoy, well, it really depends on which individual animal. Some of our animals seem to really enjoy playing with toys. Here in SeaWorld, we call those environmental enrichment devices. It's really anything any of the trainers can think that we can get approved by our veterinarians that is safe for our animals to interact with. We have a variety of grooming balls. We have toys that are made out of car wash scrap material, just like when you go through the drive-through car wash. That has big rollers. With that material, we can actually buy it from the manufacturer or by the yard. It's very durable in water, and it's something these animals seem to really enjoy. Some of our other animals seem to really enjoy back rubs or belly rubs. Luna in particular, who's 24 years old, seems to really enjoy tongue pets or tongue scratches from her close friends. Once she gets to know you, that's definitely something she seems to enjoy frequently. So as you can see, we have some of our animals moving around to different sides of our habitat. Over here on the left-hand side, we have Martha, Samson, and Kenai, and they're going to give you guys a great big wave with their tail flips. Now, what's really impressive about those tail flips, that's actually where we can collect blood samples from. So going back to those husbandry behaviors, one of the first behaviors besides building that relationship with these animals is being able for them to participate in their own health care. Our smallest beluga weighs 780 pounds. Our largest beluga weighs well over 2,000 pounds. So it's very important that these animals cooperate and participate in their own health care. So in order to get that blood sample, we simply ask them to roll upside down so their tummy is facing the sky with their tail flips on the sides of the pool. And then that allows our veterinarians to actually step over the wall and join us, where they can collect blood samples from the veins that are very shallow and close to the surface of the skin on the underside of their tail flips. Now, this is how we get those blood samples from all of our cetacean species, so all of our whales and dolphins, the beluga whales, the killer whales, the bottlenose dolphins. And if you look closely, certain individuals, those veins are very prominent, and you can actually see the striations. Now, we have a laboratory right here at SeaWorld that can run a full lab panel, just like if you or I would go to the doctor to get our blood drawn. They check our white blood cell count, red blood cell count, fibrinogen levels, all of that stuff we can do right here at SeaWorld. And the best part about having that laboratory here is we can get those results back in under an hour. So right here in front of me, you'll see at center stage, Martha's hanging out with her trainer, Elizabeth. You can see Martha is rolled upside down. She's very calm and very still. And this is, like I said, one of the most important behaviors that we can train these animals to do. Having her tail flips being so close to the surface there, this is exactly what we're looking for Martha. We've spent a lot of time getting to know Elizabeth and Elizabeth getting to know her. So in this position, Martha is completely trusting Elizabeth remaining nice and calm. If Martha was ever uncomfortable or didn't want to participate, she simply just swims away. And that's okay, and that does happen sometimes as well. We just want to make sure the times that she does hang out with her trainers and she does offer her flukes like that we want to make it a whole lot of fun and really reinforcing to her. So it looks like Elizabeth has a couple of toys for her, including that red car wash strap. We have two different sizes. This is the smaller one, and we have one that's about 3 times that size. The animals seem to really enjoy carrying them around on their head, their back. Some of our younger animals we've even seen tossing those toys high through the air and even tossing them out of the pool. Like I said, each individual animal is different, and we really have to learn to see what they seem to enjoy. It looks like Martha is sharing her toy today, which is very nice. Sharing is caring, for sure. Other very important husbandry behaviors that we do with our animals include what we call body exams. We want to be able to check these animals out from head to tail every single day. If you look over onto the left-hand side, you can see JJ is hanging out with Samson there and has him in a side lineup. So that way we get a good look at his entire side, including that pectoral flipper. Our largest animal, Beluga, like I said, he weighs over 2,000 pounds. He's about 14 feet long. It's very important that we're able to get a good look at his entire body and to be able to reach various points of his entire body in case anything needed to be treated. So once again, having these animals like very calm, very still, which seems like maybe not such a big deal with the blue whales. They're not real fast, right? But bottlenose dolphins, Pacific white-sided dolphins, these guys are little and they are fast. And sitting still is not innately reinforcing to them, meaning they have to learn to be nice and calm and nice and still, and sometimes for durations of time. So that's definitely something that we put a lot of time and reinforcement behind. We get asked all the time, what do you guys do between your presentations? What do you do when SeaWorld's closed to the public? Well, we spend a lot of time hanging out with our animals, a lot of that time is playing, and a lot of that time is working on these various husbandry behaviors. Kenai over there is showing off another very, very important husbandry behavior. You can see both him and Samson are actually sliding their entire bodies out of the water. Now, while this makes for a great photo opportunity, it's actually very, very helpful for another one of those husbandry behaviors, and that's being able to weigh all of our animals. Behind the scenes, in one of our adjacent pools, we actually have a beluga whale-sized scale that we ask all of our animals to slide up onto once a week. We want to make sure our younger animals are growing at an appropriate rate, and that our larger adult animals are maintaining a healthy weight. And we do that by asking them to slide up onto the shallow area, and then, most importantly, of course, we have to ask them to lift that tail out of the water. They have a very large muscle that goes from their dorsal fin, or dorsal ridge, all the way down to their tail flukes. That whole area is called the peduncle, and it's made of very, very large muscles that can easily weigh a couple hundred pounds. So it is important for them not only to be able to slide up out of the water, but then to lift that enormous tail out of the water so that we can get an accurate weight on them. Each of our animals gets an individual diet or base every single day. We have a team of trainers that arrive at SeaWorld at 5:30 every single morning to prepare the diets for all of the animals here at SeaWorld. So each of our animals has a bucket or 2 or 3 with their name on it. Their individual fish gets weighed out for the day and put in those buckets, and that allows us to feed them throughout the day. So like I said, every animal is unique. They have different dietary needs, just like you and I. Some of our younger juvenile animals are going to eat a lot of fish because they're growing animals. to. This allows our veterinarians to bring up petri dishes and actually hold them right over the top of the beluga's head and have them exhale to collect anything that can be inside of them, and then they take it once again down to that laboratory to see what may or may not be growing in there. I have to say, one of my favorite parts about hanging out with these animals is getting to know each individual animal. They all have very distinct personalities. JJ's hanging down there with Samson. He's 10 years old, and he is one of our most vocal animals. They make a wide range of sounds, and for some reason, Samson makes a lot of different sounds. One with nature, looking like a giant iceberg, is definitely their greatest source of camouflage. A couple other commonly asked questions. You guys have seen them doing a little bit of splashing down there. This water is 55 degrees year-round, which is pretty chilly. These animals do have a thick layer of blubber that keeps them nice and warm. Out in the ocean, scientists have found beluga whales can have blubber layers as thick as 12 inches. When it comes time to the winter time to keep them nice and warm. How do we know how thick their blubber is? We can actually measure that through the ultrasound machines that I talked about a little bit earlier. This does conclude our inside look of how we care for the beluga whales here at SeaWorld San Antonio. I want to thank you guys for joining us. Looks like the beluga whales have one more thing to